it was just like a never-ending cycle of just constantly wanting to buy everything on the wish list, and it would just like, it was like a hunger inside of me to like, hey there my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. Today's video is going to be 10 toxic money habits that I quit. So since I guess starting minimalism, so without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo! Before we get started, some housekeeping stuff. If you want to check out my Patreon to help support my channel, I'd love that, greatly appreciated. And if not, then just give this video a thumbs up and a like to help me out with the algorithm. Okay, so let's get into the top 10 toxic money habits. Number 1, making wish lists. Before I became better with my money, I used to have this weird habit, kind of toxic habit of making wish lists, and I would like write things that I really wanted, and I would just kind of go through the list of like purchasing these things over like a period of like months, and then once that list was done, I'd create like a new wish list, or I would add new things to the wish list, and it was just like a never-ending cycle of just constantly wanting to buy everything on the wish list, and it would just like, it was like a hunger inside of me to like obtain the things on the wish list. So yeah, that is something that I no longer do. I don't make wish lists of things that I want to buy. So I see things in the store, or I don't really like pursue wanting things because I'm not constantly reminded of it by having wish lists. Number 2, placing an importance on looking rich. I grew up downtown and there was a lot of advertisement and a lot of people like looking their best whether or not they were rich, and I just thought that that's just the kind of standard that I had to aspire to be. I thought I needed to look wealthy. I thought that that's just something that I needed to do, like I had to do. And I've realized that, you know, being rich and being wealthy doesn't necessarily correlate with looking wealthy. You can look wealthy and be in debt. Some people look really wealthy and it's actually just the tip of the iceberg. They have a lot. And there's some people who have wealth who don't look wealthy at all. They don't flaunt their riches. I'm really glad that I quit that toxic habit of thinking that I needed to look a certain way, and instead I could actually just focus on making sure I actually had the money in my bank. All right, number 3, brand name fanatic. I think up until recently, I've always been a brand whore. I've always really enjoyed brand names, but it kind of took my minimalism journey to declutter certain concepts of my identity, and also decluttering the idea that my value is attached to the kind of brands that I use. Once I got past those things, it was really easy to let go of brand names and realize that that doesn't have to be part of me, it doesn't have to be part of my identity. So I veer now more towards buying things that are more affordable and don't have brands on them, and I feel a lot happier with it. I feel like this is more like a minimalism one particularly than particularly like a money one, but brand names sometimes can be more expensive, and the thing that you're paying for is the brand or like the name rather than quality per se, because there's a lot of things that you can buy that are good quality that are not, you know, brand name. So it took me a while to kind of disconcern those two and realize that like brand and quality are not necessarily one and the same, and I don't have to spend my money like that just to strive to the, I don't know, this illusion of like the goodness of brand names. Number 4, eating out. There was a period of time in my life where I was like really obsessed with eating out, and I did spend like a lot of money on eating out. This was before I went to China. So when I lived in Canada, I used to eat out a lot, and I think like the majority of my money was spent on eating out. Like I would easily drop $16, $20 on like eating out, and I think that my time in China had really helped me with kind of curbing that. I cooked a lot more at home, and I did save a lot of money, and it made me realize that like eating out is fine, but I shouldn't eat out all the time. There's actually better things, better use of my money that I could do, and cooking at home is one of them. So I definitely do cook a lot more at home, and I eat out now more, I guess, sporadically and more of like a social thing, and I think it's just like a better balance or a better balanced use of my money. Number 5, browsing shopping apps. Shopping apps are, I guess, a more recent thing. In my minimalism journey, in like the 5 years, I kind of struggled with like, using these shopping apps. The one that I primarily used was Taobao, and it was really, really convenient to use it. And I spent countless hours scrolling that thing, screenshotting things that I wanted to buy, adding things to the cart, decluttering my cart. I think it probably did enter the realm of toxic. I was kind of obsessed with using that app. But through my minimalism journey and decluttering like a lot of mental stuff, I realized that there's more to life than just shopping, and once I found new things to do with my time, I became less obsessed with using the shopping app or browsing the shopping app mindlessly. All right, number 6, shopping as a main goal. I used to think that accumulating material goods was the most important thing to do in my life, like, buying a house, buying a car, buying brand name clothing, buying this, buying that. But I've actually kind of come to a place now where I don't think shopping is a main goal in my life. I think having fun and enjoying my life and helping others and living a meaningful and fulfilling life is kind of more important. I hardly shop. I mean, also, right now with COVID, where am I going to shop? But it's really nice to not be shopping centric oriented. I definitely don't care much what's the next thing that I'm going to buy, or believing that I'm going to feel fulfilled once I buy something. I'm really glad that I don't have that mindset anymore. It was a really unfulfilling way to live. I used to think that if I bought this, it's going to make me feel better, and I would buy it and I would feel better for a little bit, and then the feeling would fade, and then I'd want to recreate it again, and it was like at the cost of my financial stability. So I'm really glad that I don't do that anymore. I found other more meaningful things to do with my time. Working out, being healthy, making my YouTube channel, reading. Those are a few of the examples. Number 7, viewing money as a tool to spend. I now view money as something to help build my financial wealth and just kind of create like a safety net in case anything should happen to me. But I didn't used to see money like that before. I used to think the only function for money was to like pay bills and buy stuff. Yeah, like my level of, I guess, financial literacy was quite low. I do have to credit Rich Dad Poor Dad with having increased my financial literacy, and because of that, I've been better able to kind of see money as something that can help bulk up my financial stability. And I think that's really important because nothing's really going to help you in times of need the way that money can. Number 8, viewing money as scarcity. When I was younger, I used to think that money was really hard to come by and money wasn't for me, and I had a lot of limiting beliefs. But with my time in China, where I did my best to try to think that money was a possibility, I have to say that I did actually, I guess, law manifest it. I was very fortunate to have come across a fair amount of money. It definitely helped pay for my tuition and my living costs and my food while I was in China, and even give me a little extra sum to be able to put down for like my retirement fund and my stocks. So I think it's really important to view money as something of an abundance rather than a scarcity, because your self-limiting beliefs can really hurt you. So that's one toxic money habit I'm glad I quit. Number 9, seeing visas as free money. I think I used to use my visas in a way that was hurting myself. I used to like swipe my visas for everything, and I didn't really worry about like how I was going to pay it off or whatever, or I would justify purchases that maybe I shouldn't have bought because I thought, oh yeah, like no worries, like let me just put it on my visa, and I just kind of saw it as free money. But the thing was, like, I still had to pay off my visa in the end. So yeah, I no longer view my visas as free money. I just kind of see my visas now as like a tool that represents what I have in the bank, and every time I swipe it, I'm swiping out my own money. So it definitely makes me think long and hard about what I buy and what I use my visa for. I definitely don't think that it's free money anymore. I realized I was like lying to myself. It's not free money. It's actually my money. All right, number 10, not recording expenses. Up until I went to China, I never recorded my expenses. I just saw my money as like a total lump sum of money that I could use to spend. But when I was in China, I started allocating my money towards like different things. So it's like my phone bill, the hydro bill, tuition, food, flying costs. I started to like manage my money a bit better, and it just kind of made me realize that like I needed my money for other things, and I wasn't as loose with my money and spending it on non-essential stuff, because I could like look at my budget and realize, okay, you know what, I need my money for this and I need my money for that. Recording my expenses has also really helped a lot with knowing that I do have certain responsibilities. It's also been really good for like looking at my shopping habits and saying like, oh, I do spend too much money on bubble tea, or I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. I actually think I could afford this jacket this month. Just seeing your like shopping patterns and shopping habits will kind of reveal to yourself more about you and what's going on with your money, that I think that otherwise you probably wouldn't have known, because you have some ideas in your head. But sometimes seeing the cold hard numbers will bring home the reality of what you actually spend and what you're spending on, and maybe you might realize, you know what, this is the starting point for making some changes. Okay, so there we have it. These are 10 toxic money habits that I have quit since starting minimalism. Thank you so much for taken the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!